welcome to another episode of Acceptable Madness. My name is Scott McKinney, and today I'm going to talk about working out. Before I do that, I figured I'd open up with just a little bit of insight into the stuff that I have going on. So, one, I recently finished what would technically be my fourth book, but that doesn't feel like a brag as much as it does, or as much as it sounds a little bit sad for me, because I wish I could get those books published. But still proud of myself for finishing it, and I just started up the process of reaching out to agents and sending my work out, and hopefully I'll start getting a bunch of rejections, and if I'm lucky, the eventual confirmation of someone interested in taking up my work, and maybe getting it published someday. So that's exciting. So I'm excited for that. I am still actively looking for a job. It can be harder than it seems at some points. I had an interview that I think went really well, but so I applied for this place online back in December, and then they reached out to me in March to have my interview, so like 3 months later. And then I had the most recent interview on the first day of April, and they said that they weren't actually, like, they were looking to fill the position, but they weren't at the exact moment necessarily looking to dedicate the money out of their budget for it until the third quarter. So although I had the interview that went quite well, and the relationship was good, and we actually emailed back and forth afterwards. I sent a thank you email. The vibe seemed very, very positive, and I was very interested in the job, still am. But now I'm recording this an entire 27 days after, so like 4 weeks after the initial interview, and I haven't had any progress. So I'm applying for some other things too, trying to see if that works out, but I'm staying optimistic. I know that, financially I'm in a place where I don't feel like I need to completely sell my soul to get some cash. So I'm still focusing on, trying to find a job that I know I'm going to like, and working on my hobbies, trying to just stay sane. So that's just kind of what's going on with me. And with that, I'll say one more thing. I still want to have guests on this podcast. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think it would be cool to get people from potentially like mental illness spaces, along with just, my friends or people that have gone through some unique experiences, because everybody has a story to tell. But that might take a little longer. I'm still, again, in the works with trying to figure out times to sit down and talk with people. But the people that I'm currently in touch with, just nothing negative. They're just a bit more corporate, so it takes them longer to get stuff scheduled and whatnot. So I'm trying to get that stuff figured out, and hopefully, I will continue reaching out to people and trying to get more people on here. But I just think it would be fun personally to have someone else on here, talk with them, learn about their perspective, so that it's so that you guys as the listeners don't get bored with just listening to a 30-40 minute monologue from me, although I hope you enjoy it regardless. So just a way to change it up a little bit. And yeah, I think with that, I'm ready to dive into the topic of working out. Even though I feel like I am not the right person to talk about working out. I am not super fit. I try to go to the gym sometimes. I go to Planet Fitness because it's one of the most relaxed gym experiences I've ever had, besides whenever I went to I've been to a few different gyms, and Planet Fitness is the one that I think they do a good job when they say that they're trying to have an environment for the people that, they're not necessarily the working out type or whatnot. It's a very comfortable environment. And I think it's a really good setup for teaching people how to learn some of the equipment that they don't necessarily know, because they have all the treadmills and ellipticals set up so you could see all of the machines, so that instead of, watching TV or something, you can watch people kind of creep in from your machine and understand what it all does. But the reason that I wanted to bring it up is because I think that working out is an incredibly good stress reliever, and something that I find, especially if I'm in a particularly like angry or aggressive mood, or particularly depressed, but I still have some amount of energy, I find working out to be a really good reliever. Now, I like I said, I don't have like a ripped body. I don't try for that. I would never call myself or say that I have a six pack or call myself like the pinnacle of athleticism, because I'm definitely not. But I don't try to be, and that's part of the reason that I actually enjoy working out. My passions are doing this podcast, writing, stuff like that. Trying to get back into the marketing field. And but I'm also interested in maintaining a healthy enough body so that I don't die at the age of 23 or 24, or a really young age. And I mean, even if it were like 40 or 50, that's still younger than it needs to be. So I just try to work out so that when I get out of bed, I have a bit more energy to go after the world. I'm a little bit happier with my body, because whenever I gain weight, the first place that it starts to go is my chest. So I don't love having boobs. It's not my thing. So usually what actually makes me, what my typical cycle is I go to the gym for a while. I get inspired by something, and then I get tired of going to the gym because I dedicate too much time to it and I'm not as invested in some of the other stuff, or I'm forcing myself to go to the gym if I really don't want to. And then I stop for a while, and then I notice that I'm gaining weight, and then I see that I'm getting man boobs, and then I repeat the cycle and go back to the gym. So the way that I stay motivated for it, which I kind of just hinted on, is by not forcing myself to go if I really don't want to go. Because I think that's the worst thing that you could do to maintain motivation or inspiration or anything for any task that you could have set out. Like, if you're going to go to college and you decide that you're going to dedicate every waking moment to it, you're going to hate it unless you're really passionate about it, education and college and the major that you're doing. Because everybody needs a break from something, just to dedicate their mind to something else and use it in a different way and on different topics. So that's how I feel about the gym. I'm in a family. I have 3 siblings, all of which are more athletic than I am. Some of them do intramural sports. Some of them run fucking marathons and half marathons, and they do. One of my siblings actually did a bodybuilding competition at one point, just as an experience to have, because she was interested in working out. And I've never done any of that. The most recent thing that I've done that was like a group sport was I did track whenever I was in high school, until I saw that we got a new coach and he really wanted to try and made people do plyometrics and lunges and high steps across the field, and I never went to another practice after that. And that was like almost 10 years ago. So I don't like being on sports teams very much. It's hard for me to dedicate the time to it. Plus, if you're going to dedicate yourself to a sport, just like anything, it takes a lot of effort and time and dedication to get good at it. And it's not that I'm lazy when it comes to sports, because I have an appreciation for them, but I don't want to dedicate all of the time that I need to the sports to get good enough at them where I can feel comfortable like going out and playing every day or every week or something. Like if I were to play ultimate frisbee or hockey or football or soccer, anything in an intramural league, it would require a lot of time, and most of my siblings are more interested in doing something like that than the stuff that I'm more interested in, which is like writing or this podcast, or even I'm probably the most avid reader out of all of my siblings also. So again, I'm the least likely out of my family and out of a lot of people. But I'm not trying to say that if you work out, or that you should work out, that the goal is to look in a mirror and find yourself super sexy. Like to me, the goal of working out is to just feel better, be more healthy, and just be more comfortable in your body. and that doesn't just mean like losing weight or something. Working out and seeing that there is a little bit of change after a while, after you've dedicated a decent amount of time to it, in itself is incredibly rewarding. So I don't have a six pack, and my man boobs still exist a little bit, but my arms and I do feel like muscle in my legs, my core, my arms, everything. But my arms are just the easiest thing to see muscle sprout up in. And so like my biceps and triceps are looking better now than they have for the past year or two. So I'm personally quite proud of that. And that's something that for me, I can look at the time and the money that I've dedicated into a gym membership and the time that I've dedicated to going there like 2, 3, 4 times a week, depending on how I'm feeling. And I can see that kind of payoff. And it makes that time feel better and more justified. And I feel prouder about the fact that I'm doing it. But I don't necessarily think that if you're going to the gym, that the outcome should be the focus, because it's really not for me either. I'm proud of the fact that I've been able to continuously go to the gym and, better my overall health, along with, in some cases, my appearance, because that's still part of what comes with it. It gets rid of some insecurity if, for example, you have man boobs that you don't want. But what I personally think is the more important part is just going to the gym or going outside, going on a walk, walking a dog, just going on a run, jump roping, which is actually something I love to do, although I don't do it very often. But like just doing something to get out and move around. When I was a kid, I would see like on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, like play 60 or, go outside every day for an hour or half an hour and just do something. Play with your friends and throw a football, play kickball, blah, blah, blah. And it was always something that, honestly, as a kid, I looked at that and was like, I'm a kid. Who cares? Like, why are you telling me this? That doesn't make any sense. That's a waste of my time and yours. And so I never really took it to heart, but I was a very athletic kid anyway, where I would always want to go outside and play with my friends and stuff. So it was never something that I needed to internalize. But now I'm at a point where, you catch up to life to a point where you don't have as much freedom to just sit around and do nothing as you used to. So whenever you do have time to yourself, it's natural to want to sit down and relax and do absolutely nothing to veg out. And that's when, for me, I fall asleep at like 9 o'clock and with YouTube or TV, like Hulu or just some music playing in the background. And I wake up the next morning like 10 hours later and I feel refreshed, but my body is just as stiff as it was whenever I was falling asleep. So the reason that I like to work out is for my own health physically, but most of the reason that I convinced myself to go to the gym in this most recent time, and the reason I'm trying to not force myself to go if I don't want to, is because I'm really trying to work on my mental health and really trying to feel better about it. I know for me, everybody responds to whatever they're dealing with differently, whether it's depression, anxiety, something bipolar, anything that you could possibly deal with. Everybody responds to it differently because everybody's different. And for me, when I'm feeling particularly down and depressed and anxious or stressed about anything, one of the more immediate reactions for me to have is anger or aggression towards the world, towards myself, towards the people that I associate myself with, everything and everybody. And I know that it's a problem that I have and I'm not proud of it. But it's something that's good to know and understand that that it's happening and how to try to deal with it. So for me, if I'm in a particularly aggressive mood, the first thing that I will try to do is, well, one, avoid conversation so I don't say anything to piss someone off, because I know that I have a tendency to do that sometimes. But also, if I can go out to the gym and run on the elliptical for 15 minutes and then lift weights for like half an hour, I just feel better, and I feel like I don't need to blow up anymore, and I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable dealing with whatever problem's there. And if there isn't a problem and it's just me being particularly depressed at that moment, getting the blood pumping and feeling like you went out and did something, and feeling that soreness and everything in your muscles, it really does make me feel better by a lot. It makes me feel like I've accomplished something. And the pain that you get in the morning after you go to the gym, like if you go and you do core and you do like as many crunches as you can with weight on it because you're using a machine, and then you wake up the next morning and you try to lean up out of bed and you just can't, that's a really good feeling, because although it feels like you're dying, it also is very evident proof that you've done something that a lot of other people didn't do the day before, and that you were able to feel the painful fruits of your labor from the day before. And it's just it's a nice thing to do, to just give yourself a little bit of a bump and feel a little bit better. I don't always love going to the gym because it feels awkward. Sometimes it can be stuffy. I don't love the fact that sometimes it feels like I'm on display, just because of the machines that you use. Like there's only so many, so if someone wants to use it, they're inevitably going to look at you. And plus, when you're in a gym, there's not a lot, for me at least, and I'm not trying to be creepy, but like there's not a lot of things to look at in a gym. So for me, I just like, between sets, I'll just look around, and not at anything in particular, but I'm sure I just like stare off, and I'm tired, and I'm not trying to like creep people out, but I hope it doesn't happen. But like, my eyes just wander, and I don't like that feeling that people are doing that to me, or even the fact that I'm doing that to people, if it does happen that way. But besides all that feeling, it's still something that for me is very rewarding. For example, the last time I went to the gym, I was doing, I don't know the names to any of the equipment, and quite frankly, it's not important, but I was sitting on a machine, and another woman whom I had never seen before, I'd never talked to her, I don't know what her name is, we had a short conversation, I'll explain why soon, but she went and sat on a machine, and she was sitting on it backwards, so that instead of like, it was supposed to be for her chest and shoulders, but the way that she was using it would definitely, like, there was a chance that she could have hurt herself if she really exerted energy and pressure on the machine how she was using it. And so I got out of my machine real quick and walked over to her and politely told her the truth, or how to actually use the machine and how to move the different pieces in the different parts of it so that she would be able to have a more custom fit to her. And she was incredibly grateful, and it was cool because I'm not the most gym going person, and if you've seen me, you know that. So it was cool to go in and see these other people that have really no experience with going to the gym, just trying to get out there, and surrounding yourself by these people that are just trying to, whatever their reason to go to the gym was. Maybe they had a health scare. Maybe they're just trying to get ready for summer beach weather. Maybe they're just trying to, like me, just burn off stress or work on your mental health. It's really cool to see people there, and being able to help someone, even in something as small as correcting how they're sitting in a machine. It feels good. And it's cool to be surrounded by all these people that are, you see this especially at Planet Fitness because of their drive and motto and goal to make people that aren't usually used to working out or don't typically work out to go to the gym and work on getting healthier. So you see a lot of people that you wouldn't see at more, bodybuilding focused gyms. I don't know what a better way to say that is, but it's cool to be around all these people that are just trying to do something better, and they were hit with some sort of inspiration, and they're like, you know what, it's time for me to make a change and go out and try to be in a little bit better shape and health. And seeing that is to me something that just brings a little smile to my face, and a little, like, the sparkle in my eye, just for the fact that it's nice to see people doing something and not just accepting the inevitable. Like, if someone does have a health scare, I'd much rather see people work to change it and to prolong their life, or, whatever they're going through, because that's just human resilience. But also it shows a lot of angst. That's not a good word, but just a lot of, self-confidence to go out and do something. And going out and seeing people put themselves out there and try these machines that they don't know how to use, it's easy to look at them and be like, look at that idiot. But it's just as easy if you can change your mindset a little bit to look at them and go, that's really nice. You're going to hurt yourself, so you need to change that, but good for you. So I think that the gym, as long as you go to the right one, can be a very rewarding experience, and not just because you're going and working out. For me, when I go, I'm not the most talkative person. I know some people that go to the gym and they only go with friends, and they talk and they do some sets of something, and they're not really putting their heart into it. For me, I go, and if I'm going to be there, I'm going to dedicate my time to really working out. So if I go with like Alex or my siblings or my friends or something, I don't talk very much, but we're still like, cooperating and doing the same thing together. And it's still finding someone else to do it can be a rewarding experience too, because it's just a way to, maximize your time with people while you can outside of like work or school or whatever you're going through. And making it a productive evening or morning or whenever you go. It's a cool way to try to maximize that, because if you were to separate your day into like what needs to be done, then it's okay. Well, we'll assume that someone has a 9 to 5, right? So you wake up on Monday, you eat breakfast, you get showered, you get dressed, you go into work, you work for 9 hours, 8 hours, whatever. You get home at like 5:30. So at that point, you have to do dinner, which is already a chore in itself sometimes, especially depending on the day. And you could either throw something like frozen in that you bought for like an easy day, or you could dedicate a decent amount of time to actually cooking yourself like a meal, get leftovers. You could meal prep if you want. But regardless, you have more time taken up out of every day of the week. So then if you have to go to the gym, then that's another, we'll say, hour out of your day. At that point, it's like 7 or 8 o'clock. So all you want to do is relax, or maybe take another shower because you've gone to the gym, or sit back and watch Jeopardy or TV. I don't know. There are so many things that you can do, but whenever you look at a given day on a timeline, there's really not a lot of free time to be had. It's just working and then living your life afterwards. And then if you're lucky and you still have enough energy and drive, you might be able to do something that you're more that you find more cathartic or happiness from. That being said, I hope you get enough happiness from everything you do. Like, I hope you're in a job that you actually enjoy. But let's say that pleasure and business are totally separate in this example. Then you have work, you have dinner, you have the gym, and then you basically have sleep. So if you could bring someone to the gym or find someone that'll actually go with you, then the actual experience of going to the gym becomes something that's a bit more fun, as opposed to just a thing that you do to stay in shape. It could be something that's more social. And if you want, you could even like go out to dinner or something afterwards and make a time of it and get your socialization and talk with your friends or family or whatever. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I just went over someone's daily schedule, and that's a great topic for a podcast. But what the point that I'm trying to make is the fact that going to the gym doesn't always have to be a drag like some people think it is. I know that it's really easy to even make jokes about being lazy and that that's what you want to do, or because I make them all the time. Like, it's so hard for me to like I'll sit there and I'll settle in and I'll be reading a book or watching TV, and then I'll remember that I have to do something, and just inside my head it's so easy to go, well, I could go get that cup of water, or I could just sit here and not worry about it for like another few hours. And if someone asks if you want to go out and like, hey, do you want to go on a walk, or do you want to go out and do something? It's like, it's really easy just to say no, especially if you're in a more dark mindset, and especially if you're not typically used to going out and working out or walking or just being outside and dedicating time to like actual physical exertion. So it's really easy to avoid it, but I don't think going to the gym needs to be what a lot of the more avid gym goers make it out to be, which is this thing that's, super, super committed, something that's difficult. the thing that if you go to it, you have to walk away feeling like you just lifted 10,000 houses. Like, I don't think that it needs to be that. I don't think you need to go and walk out like without totally out of breath and just miserable because you just dedicated an hour at the gym and you didn't want to do that. I really think the gym and going to it can be really good for mental health. But when someone says, oh yeah, going to the gym helps me out, I feel like a lot of people don't expand upon it and explain how that's the case. And I don't think it's just getting more active or becoming more active and having more confidence in yourself and your body image and everything. And I know that there's endorphins and stuff that are released when you go to the gym. So it's literally like chemically better for you to do it. But that's still, I could tell everybody in the world that, yeah, you get a chemical bonus from going to the gym, but I could say the exact same thing about spicy foods. And I also know that if I eat enough spicy foods, yeah, I might have some endorphins released that'll make me happy, but it'll also, hurt my stomach or acid reflux or other elements of my digestion just because I had it. So it's hard to say like, yeah, these are all the positives when you in totally ignoring the negatives that go into it. Going to the gym is not always the most amazing walk in the park especially if you're gonna make a chore of it and force yourself to do it even though you really don't want to. And I think that's the thing that kills a lot of people for like, especially a New Year's resolution. That's the reason that I think a lot of people will go out and get a gym membership and then they'll never go to the gym. It's not because they're just like, fuck it, I can go a little bit longer and keep being unhealthy or blah, blah, blah. It's not like they're coming up with these excuses. It's the fact that for me, I don't think that people that get like a New Year's resolution really have the motivation to go into it in the first place, at least not with the right intentions. Because doing it for the time of year doesn't make any sense. But doing it because you want to feel a little bit better, or doing it because you want to lose weight, or doing it because you want to improve your health, or just doing it as a way to get out of the house every once in a while, is, to me, that's a really refreshing way to look at it and a nice way to do it. And if you go into it with like a New Year's resolution, then you're like setting yourself on this, okay, well, I'll go 5 times a week. I'm going to go every weekday, but then on the weekend, I'm going to diet too. And I'm not going to eat any of the things that I want to eat because I really want to lose this weight. And then on the week, I'm going to start cutting out all sugars. Like I'll get sugar-free bread and I won't have sweet tea. I'm going to have unsweet tea and I'm not going to put cream and sugar in my coffee and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to get carbs out altogether and do this keto shit that everybody's always talking about. When you do it like that, does that actually sound fun? That's an honest question. I know I can't hear your answer, but if you wanted to lose weight and go to the gym, if you were thinking about it like that, where it's, I'm going to go 5 days a week and I'm going to take out all the sugars and chocolate and candies and carbs and bread and all the shit that I usually eat, and it's gone because I know that if I get rid of it, then I will start losing weight like crazy. And I'm going to keep going 5 days a week. That doesn't sound fun at all. That sounds like torture. It really does, at least to me. And again, there are people out there that are really dedicated and invested in working out. And I give them all the props in the world. And if that's what you're passionate about, then yeah, you can go through that rigorous schedule because that's something that you're probably going to have fun doing. But if you're just your everyday person that goes into that if you do go to the gym, you don't know how to work most of the equipment, and then you're just like, you feel self-conscious because you don't want people to look at you and you don't want people to, judge you because you don't know how to do it. If that's me, I'm out. I'm never going back. Now, what I will say, sorry, I needed a little bit of water. What I will say is, and this is just, maybe this is my experience or thought process, but if that's why you go to the gym, good for you. If you like it, great. But know that if you're going to the gym with that kind of mentality and you don't like it, it's not going to work out. It's not going to continue. I hope it does if you're really into it. But chances are it's not. And there's no shame in not. continuing to go to the gym if you're forcing yourself to do it, doing it like it's a chore, because that sucks. It's just not fun. But if you're doing it for you, and you're doing it because you want to, and you're not forcing yourself to go 100 times a day, then when you go and you don't know how to work the equipment and you get all self-conscious about it, which everybody does at some point in their life. Not everybody, no one knows how to walk into a gym and use any of the machinery. First off, you can go and sit down at any of the machines, and there are usually little graphics that will tell you how to use them. But also, everybody that's in that gym is, as long as they're not an asshole, they're probably looking at you and are getting inspired by you, just like you're inspired by them. Because you might be trying out these machines that you don't know how to use them, but there might be someone on the elliptical that's not used to going to the gym either, but they're a little less tempted to go and try these machines because they don't want to be embarrassed. If they see you struggle with a machine and then eventually find out, like, oh, well, this is how I sit on it, this is where my feet goes, this is the posture I need in the hand position, then that person's going to be like, wow, you know what, I can do this too. And then not only are you going to the gym for you, but while you're there, you can help other people try to come out of their shell and be a little bit happier with themselves and their bodies and their mental health and whatever thing drives them there. You, as someone that, if you don't go to the gym, you might be able to help someone that does. And if you already go to the gym, you're killing it and you're doing a good job, because that's something that's really hard for a lot of people to do. It's not always fun, and a lot of people look at it like it's a chore. It's like how I looked at reading whenever I was in high school, and any amount of education, really. I never read whenever I was in high school, and that's because whenever I read, I was forced to do like book reports. And then you're just forced, okay, well, I hate doing book reports because I'm 12 and no one likes doing book reports. Therefore, I hate everything that goes into this, including reading a book that I might really have a good attachment to. Now that there's no like assignment dedicated to reading for me, I love it. Getting lost inside a world that you didn't know existed outside of the cover, or it's cool. It's wild. It's cool. It's crazy. It's something that's really, really refreshing. And so, seeing all that is just, it makes you realize that if you're doing it for the sake of doing it because there's some unattractive end goal, then you're not gonna like it. Like, it's all the same. It's all the mentality that goes into it. If you go to the gym and find out that you hate it, that's fine. I recommend finding something else that you might be able to exercise a little bit with, just to get the blood flowing and get some more energy. You know, if you can get the blood flowing, you'll have a more energized day and you'll be able to pop out of bed a little bit easier in the morning. And you might be thinking a little bit clearer. You might be more tempted to eat vegetables as opposed to like just pizza every night, or drink more water. There are so many benefits that come from just working out, or not even not going to the gym, but just finding a way to get the blood pumping through you. And the reason that I'm comfortable saying this is because I'm pretty bad at it. I'm pretty bad at going to the gym. I'm pretty bad at forcing myself to go outside every day. I have a lot of hobbies that are inside, and it's hard for me to be like, well, let's stop this one and go out. Especially in the winter, because the winter sucks. No, I hate the winter so much. It's just, I don't like the snow. I don't like the cold. But that's the time when I use the gym a lot more. But, you know, during the summer, even something as simple as like walking around outside for like 5 minutes. You know, I live in an apartment and I don't have a yard, but I can just walk down the street and get some sunlight, or even on a cloudy day, just get some fresh air. And I feel instantly better because I don't have the same kind of stagnant air that I have in my apartment. And it just, the feeling that you get, the wind blowing through your hair, or the shadows and the shade and the sun, it's all stuff that just makes you feel better. And that all comes from having a willingness to step away from whatever you're doing, getting out of your own head, and just going outside for a little bit. or going to the gym or whatever you decide to do to stay physically and mentally fit, it's very rewarding. So I feel like I can talk about it because I'm really bad at it. Just like I feel like I can do this podcast because like I'm just some regular guy, but I'm a little bit more willing to just kind of talk and have conversations and try to figure out what's going on the whole time. You'll never find me running anymore because I just don't like it. It makes my legs and shins and knees hurt. So it's not like I'm saying that there's only one way to get fit or to try to exercise, because there's clearly like an infinite number of ways. But as long as you try something, I think that's really beneficial. But you just have to look at it in a way that you will actually enjoy. That's what really matters, because if you don't enjoy it, it's not going to happen. And that's why it's so hard for me as someone that struggles with depression, to get excited and to stay focused on anything. It's hard to get excited about something. Like, there have been times where I've had plans with friends or something, and people that I love and people that I dedicate my time to and like learning about. And this is the same for my siblings and stuff too. People that I'm very interested in and, interested in their lives, and I enjoy their company and being with them. It's hard for me to always get excited about, maintaining a relationship or continuously talking to them or blah, 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 whatever that may be. And it's the exact same with going to the gym. So that's why it's so hard to actually go and do all those things. And if you can find a little bit, like an ounce of why you want to do it, and you can make it fun, that's how you win. That's how you do it. That's how you beat your brain into submission, is you just find a way that you like it. I like punching stuff, not people. And I'm a huge wimp, so I don't want to get my head punched in, so I'm not going to do boxing. But, like, I love a heavy bag. I love punching a punching bag. It's just fun. And so for me, if I can, say one day I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to go on the elliptical, I don't want to walk around, but I'm, like, kind of angry, as long as I can find some fun in punching a heavy bag, which is not hurting anybody, then, that's still a win. It's not the most, maybe that's not what everybody else does to get some exercise, but that's still a huge win. And that's something that I was able to get myself to do and not hate the entire time. And that's the struggle with depression, is trying to find something that you actually like and stick to it. Because for me, it's really hard to keep my interests in line for a long time. It's why I'll never get a tattoo, is because Halo, the video game series, one of my favorite series of all time, probably the franchise that I'm the most connected to, would never get a Halo tattoo. And that's because some days it's my favorite thing in the world, and I have this connection to the storyline, and I love it, and I love reading about the lore and the books and playing the games. But then the next, I just hate it. And it's hard for me. Like, I wouldn't want to play the game. I wouldn't want to read about it. I have no interest in it. And that just comes from, maybe that's just my brain, but I feel like that's probably more indicative of mental illness and depression in itself, is just a lot of changing interests. And the gym is no different. So as long as you can find something that you actually enjoy about it, and you don't make it a chore, and you want to go, you have your reasons for wanting to go, that's how you win. That's how you keep it up. And that's what you got to do if you want to try to better yourself or exercise or get healthier or do something. Just find a way to like it, and don't try to force yourself into it. Nothing's fun if you have to force yourself to do it. It's just not. It's why, like, I used to play the trumpet a lot too. Like, in high school, I used to play it all the time. I was in the jazz band, the marching band, the wind ensemble, but I wasn't super passionate about the trumpet. And by my senior year, I was in like 5 or 6 band type organizations, and I just quit all of them because I wasn't passionate about the trumpet, or at least not as much as I needed to be in that many organizations. And I just quit, and I haven't touched it since. It's like 5 years later. And eventually I hope to touch it again because I like it. I do. But forcing myself to do that much trumpet-related things, that many trumpet-related things, was too much, and I just had to quit. So find a way to make it fun. And that's a lesson for everything in life, but I find that working out is one of the harder ones to really internalize that. So if you can do it, if you like it, if you can find something that you like, get out there, work out, even if it's just for a little bit. And the benefit, as I mentioned earlier, is chemically you're literally going to feel better after you do it. And you can take pride in the fact that you got out and did it too. So that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. I'll try to get a guest on soon. I know I keep saying that, and I mean it every time, and we'll see what happens. But I'll talk to you next week. Thanks. Bye.